Fellas, I'm 52 years old, built a decent little construction company from nothing back in the late 90s, and I always thought I had a pretty good bullcrap detector. Turns out I was dead wrong about the one person I trusted most. Last October, my wife Lisa and I had been married 26 years. 2 grown kids, nice house in the suburbs outside Charlotte, paid off. I'm not flashy, but the company was doing 7 figures a year, and I'd finally gotten comfortable. Lisa had stopped working when the kids were little and never went back. I didn't mind. She kept the home running smooth, or so I thought. For maybe the last year and a half she'd been different. Distant. Short-tempered. Always on her phone with that little smirk. She started going to book club on Thursday nights and some weekend wellness retreats up in Asheville. I'd ask who she was going with, and she'd snap, "Just the girls from yoga, relax." I'd let it slide because I hate nagging, and I figured marriage has seasons, right? Then came the night I still replay in my head. It was a Friday in early October. I'd been on a job site all day, came home covered in dust, looking forward to a cold beer and watching the Braves. Lisa was dolled up more than usual. Tight dress, hair done, makeup heavier than she'd worn in years. She said she was meeting the girls for drinks downtown and probably wouldn't be home till late. I asked, casual as I could, "Which girls?" She rolled her eyes and said, "God, Mark, do you have to know every detail of my life now?" I laughed it off, but something was gnawing at me. I asked if maybe I could drop her off or pick her up later. That set her off. She put her hands on her hips and said, loud enough the neighbors probably heard, "If you're so jealous and don't trust me, why don't you just go stay somewhere else tonight? Go home if you're jealous, Mark. I'm tired of your paranoia." I stood there for maybe 5 seconds looking at her. That little smirk again, like she was daring me. And something in me just snapped quiet. Not yelling, not crying. Just cold. I said, "All right, I will." Grabbed my keys, walked out, got in the truck and left. Didn't slam the door, didn't say another word. Drove straight to the Embassy Suites by the airport where I keep a corporate rate. Checked in, ordered a steak from room service, turned on the game, and for the first time in months, I slept like a dead man. Next morning, I woke up at 6, showered, grabbed coffee, and just sat there staring at my phone. No text from her. Nothing. At 8:17, the phone finally rings. Lisa. I let it ring 4 times before I picked up. I pick up the call and say nothing. Just hold the phone to my ear. "Mark? Mark, where the hell are you?" Her voice is shaking, not angry, scared. Like full-on panic. I sip my coffee and say, "Calm as you like. You told me to go home if I was jealous. So I went home. I'm at the Embassy Suites. Nice king bed, by the way." Silence for a solid 10 seconds. Then she starts with the waterworks. I didn't mean it like that. I was just frustrated. "Come home. Please, this is ridiculous." I let her ramble another minute. Then I say, "Lisa, you looked me dead in the eye and told me to leave my own house because I asked who you were going out with. You won. I left. Enjoy your weekend." I hung up. 5 minutes later, the texts start flooding in. "Where are you? This isn't funny. The kids are going to wonder where you are. I'm sorry, okay? Just come home." I turned the phone face down and went to the gym in the hotel. Did legs. Hard. Came back up dripping sweat, and there's 47 missed calls and a voicemail of her crying so hard she can barely talk. I deleted it without listening to the whole thing. Around noon, I finally text back one line. "I'll be home tomorrow morning. Clean the house. We're gonna talk." That's when I made the first real move. While I was eating a club sandwich in the lobby, I opened my banking app. We had a joint checking and a joint savings that I basically funded 100%. I'd always left her name on everything because I'm old school like that. Trust, right? I transferred every dime out of joint savings, $187,000, into the business operating account that only I control. Then I dropped the daily transfer limit on the checking to $500. Took me 4 minutes. Then I called my buddy Ray, retired Charlotte PD, now does private security and information gathering. Told him the short version and said, "I need eyes on my wife tonight. Whatever she's doing, wherever she's going, I want pictures and plates." He didn't ask stupid questions. Just said, "On it. Double rate for Saturday, you know that." I told him triple if he's got something by morning. By 8 p.m. That Saturday, I'm sitting in the hotel bar watching college football when Ray texts me a single photo. Lisa's SUV parked outside a high-rise condo building in South Park. Not one of her girlfriend's places. Then another photo 10 minutes later. Lisa walking through the lobby holding hands with some tan gym bro in his mid-40s wearing a $400 haircut and a Rolex the size of a hockey puck. Ray's text under it. Unit 2404. Title search already running. Want me to wait for them to come down, or you good? I stared at that photo, so long the bartender asked if I was okay. I typed back. Wait. Get everything. Part 311. I didn't sleep much that Saturday night. Kept replaying that lobby photo in my head. Lisa laughing at something that guy whispered while his hand sat low on her back. 26 years, and I'd never seen her look at me like that. Not even early on. Ray hit me again around 2:40. Two more pictures. The condo building's garage exit and a clear shot of Jim Bro's Bentley, black, North Carolina vanity plate, Chartreuse. Real subtle. Ray added. They left together. Followed them to his place in Myers Park. Big house. No ring on his finger I could see. Name's Derek Vaughn. Runs a couple LLCs that flip commercial properties. Want the deep dive? I told him burn the midnight oil and invoice me whatever. Then I did something I'd never done in my life. I opened my laptop and started making a list titled, What I Actually Know versus What I've Been Told. By sunrise Sunday, I had 4 pages. Little things that never added up. Like how Lisa suddenly knew all about crypto in 2022 and talked me into letting her manage a Coinbase account with $100,000 of my money for the kids' future. Or the way she started insisting on separate bedrooms because of my snoring right after she came back from one of those Asheville retreats. Or the brand new safety deposit box I found on a bank statement last year that only had her name on it. I checked into the hotel for one more night. No way I was walking back into that house until I had armor on. Monday morning, Ray calls instead of texting. Says, buddy, you're not gonna believe this, but it's worse than an affair. He tells me Derek Vaughn's main LLC has been wiring Lisa $9,800 every month for the past 19 months. Always $9,800, right under the $10,000 cash reporting limit. Total so far, $186,200. And it wasn't coming from Vaughn personally. It was routed through a shell company registered to wait for it, my wife. She'd set up an LLC in 2021 called L.M. Consulting Group. I'd never heard of it. Ray says the money hits her consulting account, sits for a day or two, then gets moved again, mostly into Monero wallets. Untraceable. Some also went to a brokerage account in her maiden name only. I sat there in that hotel room, feeling the blood drain out of my face. This wasn't some midlife fling. This was a long game. She wasn't just cheating. She was bleeding me dry while planning her exit. I thanked Ray, wired him a $10,000 retainer on the spot, and made 2 more calls. First call, Tom Hargrove, the meanest divorce attorney in Mecklenburg County. Guys in my industry call him the Undertaker because when he's done, your spouse is financially dead and buried. Told him I needed to come in that afternoon. Second call, Jenna, my forensic accountant who handles all the big jobs for the construction company. Told her to drop everything and start mirroring every account Lisa could touch. I wanted a snapshot of where every dollar had gone for the last 5 years. Then I finally drove home. It was 15:15 on a Monday afternoon when I pulled into the driveway. Lisa's SUV was there. She met me at the door like a nervous dog, eyes red, hair in a messy bun, acting like the last 72 hours never happened. Hugged me and kept saying, "Thank God you're home." I was so scared. I let her hug me, didn't hug back, and said real quiet, "We're way past that, Lisa." The look on her face when she realized the temperature in that room was absolute zero. Man, that was something. She followed me into the kitchen like a ghost, asking 100 questions at once. "What's wrong? Talk to me, Mark. You're scaring me." I poured myself a glass of water, leaned against the counter, and looked her dead in the eye. "Lisa, I want you to listen very carefully. As of this morning, every account we share is frozen or moved. The credit cards you use? Canceled. The Amex Black I gave you for emergencies? Gone. The safety deposit box at Truist that only has your name on it? I've already got a court order in motion to drill it tomorrow." Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. No sound. I kept going, same flat tone. "I know about L.M. Consulting Group. I know about the $9,800 monthly wires from Derek Vaughn's shell. I know about the Monero wallets. And I know you've been sleeping with him for at least the last 19 months. Probably longer." That's when her knees buckled. She grabbed the kitchen island to keep from hitting the tile. Face went white as printer paper. I wasn't done. Here's what's going to happen next. You're going to pack one suitcase. You're leaving this house in the next 30 minutes. You can go to your mother's. You can go to Derek's. I don't care. But you're not spending another night under my roof. She found her voice, started the tears, the "it's not what you think" routine. I just raised my hand like a stop sign. Save it for the judge. My lawyer files first thing tomorrow. North Carolina is equitable distribution, not community property, and marital waste plus fraud plus adultery means you're walking away with whatever you managed to hide in crypto. And good luck proving where it came from when the IRS and the forensic team finish with you. She tried the kid's card next. You're going to destroy this family. I laughed, first time in days. Lady, you started dismantling this family the day you opened that first LLC behind my back. Our sons are 24 and 27. They're grown. They'll hear the truth from me tonight. Then I played the card I'd been saving. I pulled out my phone, opened the Photos app, and turned it so she could see the screen. 8 still shots Ray took Saturday night. Her and Derek kissing in the elevator, her hand on his chest, the works. Time-stamped. Crystal clear. Her whole body sagged. She knew the second she saw those pictures that the game was over. She whispered, "How long have you known?" I told her the truth. About 72 hours. But I've got the resources to learn the rest real quick. She started sobbing, slid down to the floor right there by the fridge. I stepped over her, went upstairs, and pulled her biggest Samsonite out of the closet. Set it open on the bed. 30 minutes, Lisa. Clock's running. While she packed, if you can call throwing clothes in while crying packing, I sat in my office and emailed Tom Hargrove the first batch of Ray's photos plus the bank records Jenna had already pulled. Subject line, file at 8 o'clock sharp. At fault adultery plus financial fraud. No negotiations. At 15:52, she walked out the front door with one suitcase and her purse. Didn't look back. I locked the deadbolt behind her and enabled the alarm for the first time in 15 years. Then I poured myself 2 fingers of Booker's, sat on the back porch, and watched the sun go down over the yard I landscaped myself 20 years ago. Felt weirdly peaceful. Little did I know the real shock was still coming. That night, I slept in my own bed for the first time in 4 days, and I slept hard. Woke up Tuesday feeling like I'd bench-pressed a truck, but clear-headed. First thing I did was change every password I'd ever shared with her, every account, every app, even the damn Ring doorbell. Tom Hargrove filed at 803 fault-based divorce. Adultery plus marital fraud plus dissipation of assets. He attached the photos, the wire records, and a sworn affidavit from Ray. In North Carolina, that's basically a legal death sentence for the cheating spouse. Lisa blew my phone up all day from her mother's landline. Guess Derek wasn't answering. I let it go to voicemail. At 16:17, she finally left one I listened to, shaky voice saying Derek had kicked her out that morning, told her, "This is getting too complicated," and that she had nowhere to go. I deleted it and blocked the number. Wednesday morning, Jenna, the forensic accountant, calls me from her office. Says, "Mark, sit down." Turns out L.M. Consulting wasn't just a laundry for Derek's hush money. Lisa had been running a quiet little side hustle for almost 4 years. She was recruiting other bored country club wives to invest in Derek's can't-lose commercial flips. She'd get a 12% cut on every dollar she brought in. Jenna found $1. 84 million funneled through that LLC since 2021. Most of it came from 5 or 6 women whose husbands are big names around Charlotte, doctors, car dealership owners, a guy who owns half the billboards on 77. And here's the kicker. Over half that money had already vanished into Monero or was sitting in cold storage wallets only Lisa had the keys to. Jenna said point blank, "Your wife wasn't the victim here. She was the junior partner in a straight-up Ponzi." I just stared out my office window at the job site across the street and felt the last little warm spot I had for her go ice cold. That afternoon, Tom calls and says Lisa's attorney, some young kid from a boutique firm, reached out wanting to mediate quickly. Translation, she's panicking because Derek ghosted her and the other husbands are starting to get letters from their own lawyers. Tom laughed and told the kid, "Tell your client the offer is this. She signs a post-nup waiving all claim to marital assets, turns over every crypto key by Monday, and maybe, my client doesn't file criminal charges for felony embezzlement and wire fraud. Otherwise, we see her in court and the S. Attorney gets a copy of everything. Friday rolls around. I'm at the warehouse checking inventory when Ray calls. Buddy, you need to see this. Sends me a link to a Ring Neighbors post. Someone in Myers Park caught video of Derek Vaughn's Bentley getting all 4 tires slashed and homewrecker keyed down both sides. Happened Wednesday night. Guess one of those other husbands moves fast. I couldn't help it. I laughed out loud in front of 3 of my guys. But the Real bomb dropped Saturday morning, and it came from the last person I expected. Saturday, 9:12, my phone rings. Number I haven't seen in years. It's Sarah, Lisa's older sister from Raleigh. We were never close. She always thought I was too blue-collar for her baby sister. I almost let it go to voicemail, but something told me to pick up. Mark, it's Sarah. Don't hang up. Her voice is shaking worse than Lisa's ever was. She doesn't waste time on small talk. Lisa showed up here Thursday night with 1 suitcase and a black eye. Said Derek did it when she told him she was pregnant. I felt the air leave the room. Pregnant. At 49. After she swore up and down 10 years ago that she was done having kids and made me get the vasectomy so we could travel light. Sarah keeps going. She's been crying nonstop, saying you're going to put her in prison, that the FBI is coming, all this dramatic stuff. Then last night she broke down and told me everything. Mark, it's not Derek's baby. I sat down on the tailgate of my work truck, right there in the Home Depot parking lot where I'd stopped for lumber. Felt like someone hit me with a 4x4. Sarah says, it's some doctor from the fertility clinic in Atlanta. She started IVF behind your back 2 years ago. Used donor sperm because of your vasectomy. Paid cash, forged your signature on the consent form somehow. She's almost 5 months along. I just stared at the phone like it was speaking a foreign language. Sarah wasn't finished. There's more. That Monero wallet everybody's looking for? She moved the bulk of it, over $1, for a million, into a custodial wallet for the baby. Irrevocable trust, supposedly. She named the kid already. Emma Grace. Said if anything happens to her, the money goes straight to the child at 25 and you can never touch it. I finally found my voice. Sarah, why the hell are you telling me this? Because she's talking about leaving the country before the baby's born. She's got a fake Canadian passport in her suitcase. She showed me. She thinks once she crosses the border and has the kid, nobody can touch the trust. I thanked Sarah, told her to sit tight and not let Lisa leave the house. Then I called Tom Hargrove on his cell. Didn't care that it was Saturday. Told him the whole thing. He was quiet for 5 full seconds, which for Tom is a lifetime. Then he said, real slow, Mark, if that trust is real and the money's already moved, we're in a foot race. But forgery on medical consent forms plus interstate fraud to conceal assets during divorce? That's federal time. I'm filing an emergency ex parte motion for temporary guardianship of the unborn child and a freeze on any passport in her name. Judge Owens owes me a favor. He'll sign it before lunch. By 14:30 that afternoon, Lisa was served at her sister's house with a court order barring her from leaving the state of North Carolina until further notice and requiring twice-weekly pregnancy check-ins with a court-appointed OB. She called me from Sarah's porch screaming that I was a monster, that I was trying to steal her baby. I let her scream until the voicemail cut her off. Then I did the one thing I promised myself I'd never do. I drove to Derek Vaughn's office unannounced. Derek Vaughn's office sat in a glass box in South Park, big sign that read Vaughn Capital Partners. Saturday afternoon, place should have been dead, but his Bentley was in the reserved spot, tires still slashed and the key marks fresh. Guy hadn't even bothered to move it. I walked straight past the receptionist, some 25-year-old who recognized me from the news clippings already making the rounds in Charlotte circles, and pushed open his office door without knocking. Derek was behind the desk, sleeves rolled up, hair messed like he hadn't slept. Face still had that permanent tanning bed glow, but the cocky smirk was gone. He looked up and went pale. Mark, security's calling the cops. Let him, I said, and closed the door behind me. I didn't raise my voice. Didn't need to. I laid a manila folder on his desk. Inside, printouts of every wire from his shell companies to Lisa's LLC, plus the 5 other wives he'd been running the same play on. Jenna had finished the puzzle overnight. I told him, real quiet, you've got 2 choices. 1, you sign this affidavit admitting you paid my wife for intimacy and for bringing in investors you knew were married women using joint money. You list every dollar, every date, every property you flipped with laundered funds. You hand it to the U.S. attorney yourself on Monday and take whatever deal they offer. Or two. I walk out of here, and the next people through that door are two FBI agents who already have the same folder. Plus the dashcam footage of you hitting a pregnant woman. He tried to bluster, said lawyers this and defamation that. I just opened my phone and played the 911 call Sarah had secretly recorded Thursday night. Lisa crying. Ice pack on her face, Derek yelling in the background. You think I want another kid? Get rid of it, or you're on your own. His hands started shaking. Took him less than 2 minutes to sign. 6 pages, notarized by his own receptionist who looked like she wanted to throw up. I took the original, left him the copy, and said, "You're done in this state. If I see that Bentley on the road again, it won't be the tires that get cut." Walked out feeling nothing. Not victory, not rage. Just empty. Monday morning Tom filed the signed affidavit with an addendum to the divorce complaint. Same day the U.S. Attorney's Office in Charlotte opened a case styled United States versus Lisa Marie Brennan and others. They froze every wallet address she'd ever touched. Tuesday at 10 o'clock Lisa was arrested at her OB appointment. Quietly, no cuffs in public, judge's orders because of the pregnancy. Federal marshals walked her out the side door of the clinic while the receptionist stared with her mouth open. They took her to the county jail for processing, then straight to home detention at her mother's with an ankle bracelet. Couldn't leave for any reason except doctor visits, and those had a deputy in the waiting room. That night, I sat on my back porch again with the same glass of Booker's. Didn't even drink it. Just watched the ice melt. Then my oldest son, Tyler, called from Atlanta where he's a structural engineer. Said mom had finally told him and his brother the whole story in the one phone call she was allowed. He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "Dad, I don't even know who that woman is anymore." Neither did I, son. Neither did I. But the final twist still hadn't hit. That one came from the fertility clinic itself. Wednesday morning, 2 days after Lisa got the ankle bracelet, I get a certified letter from the fertility clinic in Atlanta. Thick envelope, law firm letterhead on the front. I figured it was them covering their backside. Standard, "We're sorry for any inconvenience," nonsense. It wasn't. Inside was a cover letter from their general counsel and a sealed report from their internal audit team. They'd launched the audit the minute the U.S. attorney subpoenaed their records. What they found made my blood run cold. Lisa didn't just forge my signature on the consent forms. She used my frozen sperm. Back in 2013, before the vasectomy, we'd done one round of IVF because we were struggling to conceive our youngest. 2 embryos implanted, that's our son Luke, and 6 more were cryopreserved just in case. We forgot about them. I sure did. Lisa never forgot. In 2022, she contacted the clinic, told them we were trying again after reconciliation, paid the storage fees that had been in arrears, and reactivated the account. She presented a notarized consent form with my forged signature and a fake driver's license that had my name, but her photo. The clinic ran it through their system. It pinged as valid, and they let her walk out with 2 straws of my 2013 sperm. She implanted both. One took. That baby she's carrying, Emma Grace, is 100% my biological daughter. I sat in my kitchen reading that report 4 times. Hands shaking. Not from anger anymore. From something I don't even have a name for. The clinic's lawyer basically begged me not to sue them into the ground. Offered to settle for 7 figures and cover every dime of the child's future expenses, college, medical, whatever, if I signed an NDA and waived liability. Tom told me we could probably get $15 million and shut the place down, but that would take years and drag my kid's name through the headlines before she's even born. I told Tom to take the deal, but with one condition. The money goes straight into a rock-solid trust for the child. Lisa gets 0 access, ever. Clinic agreed the same day. That night, I drove to Lisa's mother's house. First time I'd seen her since the day she left with the suitcase. Deputy let me in after checking with the marshal's office. Lisa was on the couch, 7 months pregnant now, belly huge under an old sweatshirt of mine she must have taken. Ankle monitor glowing red on the coffee table because it was charging. She looked up, eyes puffy, and started crying the second she saw me. I didn't sit, just handed her the clinic's paternity report. She read the first page and let out this sound, half scream, half sob. Dropped the papers like they burned her. "Mark, I can explain." "You don't get to explain anymore," I said. My voice was steady. That little girl is mine. Biologically, legally, every way that counts. You're the incubator, Lisa. That's it. She tried to grab my hand. I stepped back. I told her the trust was already funded, irrevocable. The child will have my last name. When she's born, I'll petition for full custody. Given the felony charges, the fraud, the flight risk, judge will grant it the same day. Lisa will get supervised visitation if the court feels generous. Then I told her the part that shut her up for good. I'm not doing any of this to hurt you. I'm doing it to make sure my daughter never has to wonder why her mother tried to steal her future before she even took her first breath. I walked out. Didn't look back. The next 6 weeks went by like a slow-motion train wreck you can't look away from. Lisa's criminal attorney tried every trick. Mental health evaluations, plea negotiations, letters to the judge about the best interest of the unborn child. Every motion got shot down before the ink dried. The U.S. attorney wasn't playing around. They wanted an example made. Derek Vaughn had already flipped completely, took a plea for wire fraud, and agreed to testify against her. The other 5 husbands were lining up with their own civil suits. Charlotte society pages were eating it up like it was the Real Housewives finale. I stayed quiet. Worked 16-hour days, poured concrete, framed houses, anything to keep my hands busy and my mind off the fact I was about to be a father again at 52 to a little girl whose mother I couldn't stand to be in the same room with. Thanksgiving came and went. My boys flew in, both of them still shell-shocked. We ate at the kitchen island because the dining room felt too big without the old noise. Tyler asked the question they were both thinking. Dad, are you really keeping the baby? I told them yes. No hesitation. Blood is blood. December 18th, 6:47. I get the call from the deputy assigned to Lisa's monitor. She's in full labor, 3 weeks early. Ambulance is on the way to her mom's house. I throw on clothes, beat the ambulance to Carolina's medical center by 20 minutes. They wheel her in screaming. Sees me in the hallway and starts crying again, reaching out. I don't take her hand. I just follow the gurney into labor and delivery. The nurses know who I am. Tom had papers filed weeks earlier giving me medical decision rights for the child the second she's born. Labor was fast. For hours. Lisa kept begging me to stay in the room. I stood outside the door with my back against the wall, arms folded, listening to her scream my name like it still meant something. At 11:03 on December 18th, Emma Grace Brennan came into the world at 5 pounds 11 ounces. First thing the nurse did was walk straight past Lisa and hand the baby to me. Tiny, red, perfect. 10 fingers, 10 toes, and a tuft of dark hair just like mine. I looked down at that little face, and every ounce of hate I'd been carrying just evaporated. Gone. Like it never existed. Lisa's voice from the bed, weak and hoarse. Can I hold her? Please, Mark. I turned around slow. Looked at the woman who'd spent 4 years trying to rob me blind, who forged my name, who built an entire second life on lies. And I felt nothing but pity. I walked over, laid Emma in her arms for exactly 10 seconds so the nurse could get the skin-to-skin photo they need for the chart, then took her right back. Lisa lost it. Full meltdown. Security had to come in. I signed the birth certificate in the hallway. Father, Mark Allen Brennan. Mother, Lisa Marie Brennan. Then I handed the deputy the custody order that had already been signed by Judge Owens at 8:30 that morning. Emergency full custody granted to me. Lisa to have no contact until further court order. By 1600 hours, I was walking out of that hospital with my daughter in a car seat the nurses helped me install, a diaper bag slung over my shoulder, and a stack of paperwork that ended 26 years of marriage once and for all. Drove straight to my house. Same one Lisa left with one suitcase. Carried Emma over the threshold like I did with my bride in 1998. Only this time, I wasn't bringing home a liar. I was bringing home the only good thing that woman ever gave me. The divorce was final on February 14th, Valentine's Day. Judge picked the date himself, said it had a certain poetic ring to it. Lisa signed everything with a shaky hand over a video link from the federal holding facility in Butner. No alimony, no assets, no claim on the house, the business, the retirement accounts, nothing. The marital fraud and pending felony charges wiped the slate clean. She kept the clothes on her back and whatever was left in a checking account with $2,800. The Monero wallets? Government seized every Satoshi they could trace and forfeited the rest when she refused to hand over the keys. She took a plea. 5 years, out in 3 with good behavior, plus 10 years supervised release. She'll be wearing an ankle bracelet again before Emma starts kindergarten. I didn't go to the sentencing. I was home teaching a 2-month-old how to hold a bottle. The first night Emma slept 6 straight hours, I sat on the floor of the nursery at 3 a.m., just watching her breathe. That's when it finally hit me. I'd lost a wife, but I'd gained a daughter. And somehow the math worked out in my favor. My boys came around slow. Tyler flew in every other weekend at first, scared to change a diaper. Now he fights me to be the one who gets up at night when he's here. Luke designed and built a custom crib in his garage that looks like it belongs in a magazine. They call Emma the miracle tax write-off. Dark humor runs in the family. The construction company is having its best year ever. Funny how when you stop pouring money into somebody else's secret life, profits show up quick. I promoted my best foreman to partner, took a little off the table, and set up a $529 for Emma that'll pay for any college on the planet and still have enough left for a down payment on her first house. Some of the guys at the gym ask if I'm dating yet. I laugh and tell them I've got a girl who wakes me up at 5:13 a.m. every morning with a smile that makes the sun look dim. That's enough woman for any man right now. Lisa writes letters from prison. Long ones, pages and pages about therapy and childhood wounds and how sorry she is. I read the first 2, then started sending them straight to Tom unopened. He files them in case she ever tries for custody restoration down the road. Judge already said the only way she gets unsupervised visitation is if she stays clean for 10 straight years and the world turns upside down. I'm not holding my breath. Every night I rock Emma to sleep with the same song my dad sang to me, some old Merle Haggard tune. When she's finally out, I lay her in that crib Luke built and I stand there a minute longer than I need to. I think about that Friday night when Lisa told me to go home if you're jealous. I did go home, just not the way she expected. Turns out the joke was on her, because I built a new one. So here I am, 53 years old, sitting on the same back porch where I watched the sun go down the day I threw her out. Only now there's a baby monitor on the table instead of a glass of Booker's, and every few seconds I hear Emma smack her lips in her sleep. That sound is worth more to me than every dollar Lisa tried to steal. The house is quieter, cleaner, and a hell of a lot more honest than it ever was with her in it. My boys come and go like they own the place again. The fridge is full. The alarm is off most nights because this time I really am home. Some of you watching this are in the middle of your own nightmare right now. Maybe you're seeing the same little changes I ignored. Maybe she's got a book club too, or a new password on her phone, or she gets mad when you ask simple questions. Maybe you're scared to pull the thread because you don't know how far the rock goes. Pull it anyway. The night she told me, go home if you're jealous, I did exactly what she said. I walked out that door, and I never let her dictate the terms again. That single moment of taking her at her word was the first brick in the new life I'm living right now. So if you're sitting there with that knot in your gut, listen to an old man who's been through the fire. The truth hurts like hell, but living with the lie hurts longer. Get the proof. Get the lawyer. Get your money safe. And when she finally shows you who she really is, believe her the first time. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't destroying her world. It's building a better one without her in it. I've got my boys. I've got my company. I've got a little girl who's got my eyes and her brothers wrapped around her finger already. And every morning when Emma wakes up and gives me that big, toothless grin, I know I won. Lisa lost everything she schemed for. I got the only thing that was ever really mine to begin with, my future. Take care of yourselves out there, fellas. Protect your peace. Protect your kids. And never, ever ignore that knot in your gut. This is Mark Brennan, signing off. See you on the next one.